When the Cowboys traded away Micah Parsons, I wasn't particularly happy. I'm sure a lot of you guys know that. You can go watch my video after that news broke. I was really mad. But after I got over the anger, I kind of thought about it a little bit. I said, I'm going to give this team a chance. I know we've given them a million chances at this point. I said they could parlay some of these picks, resources, and cap savings. They have a real chance to fix this defense in a hurry. And right now, based on the Quinnen Williams trade, I think they did a really good job. So in today's video, I want to ask the question, did the Cowboys fleece or rob or win the trade with the Green Bay Packers? Let's talk about it. There's three reasons in particular I think that this was an awesome deal for Dallas. Not that I loved them trading Micah Parsons, but Micah Parsons isn't here anymore, so you got to look at what they're doing with the resources. Getting Quinnen Williams has made that trade much sweeter. And at the end of this video, we're going to talk about why the national media seems to hate this move so much. But for now, let's look at my three reasons. Number one is the contract numbers. The Williams deal has Dallas taking on the remaining contract owed to him, approximately $7.8 million this year and about $47.3 million over the next 2 seasons. Williams cap hits will be $8.4 million the rest of this year, $21.7 million in 2025, with a potential out after that year, and a $25.5 million cap hit in 2027 before he's an unrestricted free agent. It's totally possible that Dallas can move some of that money around, lower the hits, add void years, do all of that stuff, and they still have that potential out after 2026, which wouldn't be a good idea giving up the draft capital that you did. Quinnen Williams needs to be here for the long term, but it is an option. If it were to go completely south and not work out, you would accrue no dead money moving on before 2027, which means you have a lot more cap flexibility than maybe the Packers do in the next couple of years, because Micah Parsons for the Packers is going to account for a $9.9 million cap hit in 2025, $19.2 million in 2026, $26.8 million in 2027, and then $42.2 million in 2028. And there is a potential out in his contract in 2029. They added some void years to the back of it. They could probably move some money around. But at the end of the day, it is going to cost the Packers more in the long run for Micah Parsons. And you guys can debate down below in the comments, is it worth it for Dallas? Did they make the right move? That's literally why I'm making this video. I want to get a pulse on what Cowboys fans think about this so far. You look at the difference in those numbers, assuming the Cowboys do what they're supposed to with Williams' contract and other guys. I think this actually opens the door to really rebuilding this defense and even extending George Pickens, because there's so much money on that side of the ball that can be moved around outside of their stars. Quinnen Williams, star. Osa Odigizua hasn't played well this year, but Dallas paid him. Deron Bland also has not played well this year. I expect him to be better in 2026, but someone that you can build around. Outside of that, Dallas is about to have so many opportunities to find money. Dallas could get $21.5 million in cap space from cutting Kenny Clark this offseason with $0 in dead money. Williams is only making $300,000 more than Dallas would have paid Kenny Clark. They could also save around $14 million cutting Terrence Steele post June 1, and another $15.5 million in cutting Trayvon Diggs. That right there is $54 million if my math is correct. I'm not very good at math. Around $55 million next year. That goes along with having the draft picks and the money and the resources to truly rebuild this defense from the inside out. And that was my second reason. Okay, guys, if you're anything like me, you've hit the point where just getting to the gym feels like an entire mission. You got to get ready, you got to drive there, work out, drive back home. It just takes so much time. And that's why I got to tell you guys about the sponsor of today's video, Averon Active. Say goodbye to boring workouts and hello to better habits. I have the Averon Strong Rower, and let me tell you guys, this thing is amazing. Right at my house, I can get a full workout in. This thing has built-in games, games, head-to-head races with friends. It doesn't even feel like I'm working out. The best part is I get in a really good sweat, and it's not just games. Their products have everything from Netflix to Amazon Prime to Kindle Unlimited. You can catch up on your favorite show or watch some highlights from last week's games. They have it all. And my favorite part, they have a number of different machines to fit your needs, a rowing machine, a treadmill, a bicycle, all of it to fit your workout. If walking isn't for you, rowing is low impact but still gets in a full body workout. So if you're trying to stay in shape or get in shape without wasting time or getting bored out of your mind, you can get $50 off all of their products when you use my code DoubleMove. All one word, DoubleMove. You can get $50 off your purchase at Avaron Active. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring the channel. Now let's get back into the video. The draft picks. A lot of people were going to say this is why they didn't like the move, that Dallas gave up too much for Quinnen Williams, a guy that's 27 years old, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, they still have 2 first-round picks in 2026, which means that they can either sit there and pick or parlay that into getting a second and a third-round pick back. If they were to move off of one of those first, if they were to trade back in the draft, they could recoup their second-round pick that they spent on Williams and recoup their third-round pick that they spent on Pickens. And then you're just going to sit there and draft at 1, 2, and 3. We'll have to wait and see when that time comes, who's sitting there, who's available in the first round, but it is possible and an option. For me to like this trade, they don't even need to do that, because the main thing is, I don't care about giving up a second-round pick. I could care less that Dallas gave up that second because they stink at drafting in the second round. That's like trading Kelvin Joseph away. Who cares about the picks? How often would this team in the past couple of years say, oh, well, we traded Micah away. We have 4 first-round picks, and we're going to get this guy, and we're going to rebuild it that way. No, they've just been awful at drafting recently, especially defensive interior players. So go get a guy with legit pedigree, someone that is an actually good football player that you can legitimately build this defense around. Forget the second-round picks. Forget the ceiling of this guy and the cheap labor here. Who cares? Dallas still has 2 first-round picks in 2026, and they still have a 2027 first-round pick. Nothing has really changed in my mind about how you can rebuild this thing, except now you have Quinnen Williams. And my third and final reason is the talent and the player and the acquisition matches the Dallas Super Bowl window. Quinnen Williams, over the past 6 years of his career, he was drafted 3rd overall in the 2019 draft, has been phenomenal. This year alone, 2025, he is 2nd in solo tackles, 1st in forced fumbles, 1st in run stops, 14th in hurries, 34th in hits, 26th in total pressures, and he ranks 1st in run defense according to PFF grades. Once again, it is PFF. You know, he's got to be playing pretty good football to be the #1 defensive interior guy against the run, and I actually just made a video on his All-22 yesterday. He was phenomenal. That definitely checks out. This is a guy that is going to legitimately change your run defense. I don't need to sit here and explain it to you guys. They've been exposed in the interior run game over and over and over, and they can't generate pressure in the passing game. And you just got Quinnen Williams, a multiple Pro Bowler, all-pro pedigree, and a guy that is a disruptor not only in the passing game, but the run game as well. So instead of just banking on, okay, well, we're going to use one of the first round, we're going to use those first-round picks, and we're going to go find us a defensive tackle. No, when the guy is sitting there that is as good as Williams is, you take the opportunity. Getting a guy that is going to help you win in 2026, 2027, and 2028, because to me, that is the Super Bowl window. You have Dak Prescott under contract. You have probably Pickens. Lamb is going to be here. Quinnen Williams, Oso Odighizuwa, Deron Bland, Cooper Beebe, Tyler Booker, Tyler Smith, Guyton. Like, that's a nice foundation to start building around. I don't think people realize, too, how much on the defensive side of the ball there's going to be change next year. I just mentioned all of the money that the Cowboys can save. Hopefully, they use that in free agency and re-sign Pickens and do things for their own team. But there's going to be so much turnover on the defensive side of the ball. It's why they haven't invested in it, and it looks as bad as it does right now because they haven't put any resources into it. Now we're seeing those resources. Kenneth Murray won't be here next year. Donovan Wilson won't be here next year. Dante Fowler Jr. will be gone. Jadeveon Clowney, Kyer Elam, Peyton Turner, Sam Williams, Jack Sanborn, Wanye Thomas will be gone. Damone Clark will be gone. Reddy Stewart, Josh Butler. None of those guys will likely be here. They're all going to be unrestricted free agents, and I don't see a world where Dallas brings hardly any of those guys back. I like where this team and this organization is headed. They're not just saying, oh, we're going to bet on our draft and we're such a good drafting team. No, they went and got an all-pro type player that legitimately changes the interior of your defense. It's why I like this deal so much. It does feel a bit strategic. I don't think trading away Micah Parsons was strategic, but now they're figuring it out, working on it from the inside out, from the trenches, which is where they've struggled for the longest time now, and then hopefully paying or drafting linebackers, safeties, corners, etc. They don't have a bunch of money tied up in a ton of different contracts for guys that aren't playing well. Luckily, you can get out from the Diggs contract. You can get out from the Terrence Steele contract. You can get out from under the Kenny Clark contract without it hurting you a ton in dead money. That's what I don't get about these ESPN articles and grading the Cowboys F, and this was a terrible trade. They gave up too much money. Dallas isn't trying to win in 2025. People cannot seem to understand why they made this trade. This is for 2026 and 2027 when you really go all in and try to rebuild this defense. Granted, all in for the Cowboys looks a lot different than maybe the Rams or somebody that just trades away all their first-round picks, but this is going to be the closest version that we get to that. You gave up a first and a second, a first in 2027, a second in 2026. They have Quinnen Williams, Deron Bland, Oso Digizua. Everybody else is out. I love it. I can't understand the hate unless you're like, okay, it's not saving their 2025 season, which I 100% agree. That's also not why they made the trade. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to check out Averon Active. You can get a rower, treadmill, bicycle. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring this video. I love working with these companies, and if you guys check them out, it helps me out a ton as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and I'll see you next time.